So the Democrats flipping 1, I mean, they'll take it, but they'd probably want more. Flipping 2 is definitely doable. From the studios, Lagomicus Elections, we want to talk about Iowa today. So now Iowa, we've talked about the governor's race some, and we've talked about the Senate race some, especially the governor's race in Iowa. That is one that this year, 2026, could potentially flip to the Democrats. It would be the first time in decades that a Democrat has been elected governor of Iowa. So potentially a big year for them, and they're trying to become more competitive in this U.S. Senate race with Josh Turek and Ashley Hinson. But let's talk about the House races, because there are some opportunities here for the Democrats. The Republicans are on defense in all of them. So there are 4 U.S. House seats in the great state of Iowa. All 4 of them at this point are held by the Republicans. In fact, both senators are Republicans as well. So the entire congressional delegation from Iowa is Republican. So the GOP on defense in 5 out of those 6. The 6th one is Chuck Grassley, and he's already been reelected recently. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through each of the 4 House seats in Iowa, because we want to try to answer the question: how many Iowa U.S. House races are actually in play here in 2026? And I think by the end of this video, if you haven't already figured this out for yourself, you will probably have a pretty good idea. So on the screen with me right now, this is a map of Iowa. It's divided in 4. Those are the 4 congressional districts located in Iowa. So I believe Iowa is one of the only states that I know of in which congressional districts cannot split a county. So these are whole counties that are in these congressional districts in Iowa. So we're going to start with the district that is perhaps the least in play, and this is the 4th district. This is a seat held by the Republican Randy Feenstra, and if you've heard that name in the news electorally recently, it's because he got upset in his primary. He was running for governor of Iowa, and he lost his primary. So that seat is open now. We still consider it pretty safe Republican. As you may remember, Steve King, the firebrand conservative who used to represent this district, this was his seat. You will also know that such places as Council Bluffs, Sioux City, and Ames, so you got a big college town in Ames in this district, while also having places like Sioux City and Council Bluffs in this district. So this is definitely, out of the 4 congressional seats in Iowa, this is definitely the most conservative. This is definitely the most Republican voting. I think Donald Trump won this district by over 30 points in 2024. So the odds of it flipping are actually fairly minimal. We will keep an eye on all the House races across the country, but this is not one that we have flagged in any sort of way, even though it's an open seat, and even though Democrats may do better in Iowa than they have been doing. If the Republicans only hang on to 1 seat in Iowa, it's going to be this one. So I think you can pretty much put this one aside. But now the races will start to get a little more interesting. On the screen right now, lit up, this is the 2nd district of Iowa. This is northeastern Iowa. The current representative is Ashley Hinson, whom you may have heard I mentioned a few minutes ago, because she is the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate, probably a very slight favorite at this point in that Senate race. So this is also an open seat. I thought maybe we had this as lean Republican, but no, I checked the sheet. We have it as tilt Republican. So the Republican nominee here is Joe Mitchell. He is a former state representative. The Democratic nominee here is Lindsey James, and she is currently a state representative. So tilt Republican. It's, I think, an R+4 kind of seat, something like that. It is an open seat. Democrats are on a bit of an upswing in Iowa, at least we think they are. So we do have this as tilt Republican. The other 2 seats we're going to talk about are very much in play. Since we have it as tilt Republican, we would consider this seat in play as well. But the other 2 seats that we are going to talk about are, I think, at a greater risk flipping from Republican to Democratic. And the next one we're going to talk about, this is going to be one of those key Democratic targets across the country. And this is the 3rd district of Iowa. It is anchored by Des Moines. You also have Ottumwa, Iowa as part of it. So the Republican representative here is Zach Nunn. He flipped this seat a couple of cycles ago. He beat the Democrat here, Cindy Axne. And Democrats are going to try to knock him off this time. We have this race graded as a toss-up as of today. I think this is going to be a tough fight for Nunn, especially, you've got a seat where he only won by a couple of points last time, even as Donald Trump was winning big in the state and carrying this district. He still had a fight on his hands. Well, now it looks like we're heading into more of a Democratic midterm election year. So he's going to have to fight hard to hold on to his seat. The Democrat running against him is Sarah Trone Garriott. She is a state senator. There really isn't any opinion polling in this district about which to talk. Before I came on, I looked. I saw there was one from back in March. And at the time we record this, it's July. So, we're talking months before the primaries even occurred. I don't think a poll that old is going to be any use to us at this point. So for all intents and purposes, there is no reliable current polling on this race, but I do expect that this is going to be a close call. And speaking of close calls, Marionette Miller Meeks in the 1st district in southeast Iowa, she knows all about them because it seems like every race she runs is a razor close win. So she is running for re-election here in the 1st district. She will, for a 3rd time, be running against the Democrat Christina Bohannon. Of course, Miller Meeks beat her in both 2022 and 2024. So this is, like we said, probably going to be a more Democratic environment this year. So this will probably be Bohannon's best chance of flipping this seat. I think this is one of the most at-risk Republican seats that has not been gerrymandered anywhere in the country. So this is one that if you're the Democrats and even the 3rd district over in Des Moines, if you intend to flip the House in 2026, it's seats like these, the 1st and the 3rd. So on your screen right now is the 1st. The 1st and the 3rd, these are the kind of seats you got to win. And if you want to try to pad your majority, you get that 2nd district up in the northeastern corner of the state. And if you're winning in a thermonuclear blowout, then you take the 4th district, but that's probably not going to happen. So let's just set the level of expectation. So let's break it down so we can talk about these seats in the big picture. So we have one seat, the 4th district, that is safe for Republicans. So I don't think anybody would really expect that seat to come into play at any point in this election cycle. But then you've got the 2nd district, which right now we have as tilt Republican, and then you got the 1st and the 3rd, which we have as toss-ups. So what does that mean? That means you could have the potential for 3 seats out of the 4 in Iowa being in play in this cycle. So in terms of what I think the Democrats could actually do, I think the Democrats winning no seats in Iowa would actually be a pretty bad sign for them. Because these districts, the 1st and the 3rd especially, these were close calls in more Republican environments. You would think that if the Democrats are really having a better year in 2026, that they would get those extra few points and get over the top in one or both of those races. So the Democrats flipping 1, I mean, they'll take it, but they'd probably want more. Flipping 2 is definitely doable. The Democrats taking 2 seats in Iowa is definitely doable. 3 is pushing it. It's not outside the realm of possibility, especially because we do have that other race as tilt Republican. And that one could always fall into a toss-up if the campaign continues to develop in a friendly direction of the Democrats. But 2 is doable. 3 is possible. maybe pushing it. 4 is not going to happen. So if you're the Democrats, I think at this point, you got to be hoping to flip at least 2 of these 4 seats in Iowa. It can definitely happen. But I also think the Democrats are going to hope that somebody like Rob Sand, the state auditor, who is the Democratic nominee for governor, that he's going to help the Democrats down the ballot, and maybe Josh Turek on the Senate ticket, hopefully for them. They would think that he could do the same. But yeah, 2 House seats, I think, is what the Democrats are going to be going for in Iowa. Maybe a third, but definitely 2 is the number that they're going to be looking for. And again, getting 0 would be really not very good for them at all. But let's see. Will the Democrats pick up 2 seats? Will they pick up more? Will they pick up less? We will find out in November here at Legomicus Elections. Like and subscribe. Follow us on social media. We'll see you soon.